The City Club of Eugene's March 20th, 2026 program, New Directors, New Visions, Eugene Ballet, and Eugene Symphony. My name is Thomas Hura. I'm a volunteer with the City Club, and I have the privilege of welcoming you to another of the many forums we've held since 1990 in the name of our mission to build community vision through open inquiry. City Club is lucky to be a trusted, open, and independent voice for Eugene area community members to be heard. And as a lifelong Eugenian, I believe the community is fortunate to have the City Club, but particularly to hear from our program guests and questions from the audience, whether here in the beautiful Wow Hall, online, or over the radio. Anyone who attends a City Club of Eugene forum has equal access to asking questions in our space, so I look forward to hearing your questions. We believe these gatherings and broadcasts around critical community topics strengthen our understanding of one another and ultimately our ability to support the community building work in so many sectors of the Eugene area. In today's fractured information landscape, we want to be a place where you can participate in unearthing, disseminating, and sharing relevant information in conversation together. We would love for you to browse our past programs at cityclubofelugene.org or our YouTube or Facebook. Please consider becoming a member if you'd like to support our rigorous volunteer work as Oregon's only city club with a weekly forum schedule. There are many ways to partner with us, and I'd like to thank our Diamond community sponsors. The University of Oregon has helped Oregonians question critically, think logically, reason effectively, communicate clearly, act creatively, and live ethically since 1876. Get more information at uoregon.edu. Lane Community College transforms lives through learning. LCC provides comprehensive, accessible, high-quality educational opportunities that promote student success. For more information, visit lanecc.edu. Thank you as well to the City of Eugene and to Lane County for their generous support, and to our web host, 9 Planets, whose website support is critical to our work, making it easy to sign up as a member, donate to our club, or learn more about us. A quick reminder, please silence all devices in the beautiful Wow Hall right now. And with that, I turn the mic over to the coordinator of today's program, Eric Jura.
Good afternoon. I'm Eric Jura, and I'll be your moderator for today's program. Thank you all for being here and for continuing City Club's tradition of thoughtful, informed civic dialogue. Eugene has long taken pride in its vibrant arts community. Institutions like the Eugene Symphony and the Eugene Ballet are not only sources of cultural enrichment, they are also civic assets. They help define who we are as a community, contribute to our local economy, and provide educational opportunities that reach far beyond the concert hall or the stage. Today's program comes at a moment of transition and opportunity. Both organizations are under relatively new artistic leadership, and with that comes fresh perspective, new energy, and perhaps most importantly, new questions. How do these leaders honor long-standing traditions while also evolving to meet the expectations of today's audiences? How do they broaden access to it and ensure that the arts are welcoming and relevant to the entire community? And what role should organizations like these play in the civic life of Eugene going forward? We are fortunate to have with us 2 individuals who are helping to shape the answers to these questions. Jennifer Martin, Artistic Director of the Eugene Ballet, brings deep experience as a performer, an educator, and leader, along with a strong commitment to developing dancers and engaging audiences. Alex Pryor, Music Director of Eugene Symphony, is an internationally recognized conductor and composer whose work reflects both respect for the classical canon and an interest in expanding it. In today's conversation, we'll explore their artistic visions, how they approach programming and audience engagement, how they see their organizations contributing to the cultural and civic fabric of Eugene. As always, we'll leave time at the end for your questions. We'll start the program with some questions, some pre-planned questions, and then we'll take a break, and then we'll take questions from the audience as we always do. So we're glad to see you all here today. With that, please give a round of applause for our guests, Jennifer Martin and Alex Pryor. So Jennifer, we'll start with you for this with this question, and then Alex, you could follow that. How do you see your organization contributing to Eugene's identity and quality of life over the next 3 to 5 years?
Over the next few years, I see Eugene Ballet continuing to grow right alongside our community. We're always looking for ways to keep our programming fresh and meaningful, making sure that it reflects Eugene's spirit while upholding the excellence that's kept it relevant for nearly 50 years of our existence in Eugene. Being nationally recognized is something we're proud of, but what means even more is hearing from folks who've seen ballet in bigger cities and still find our company uniquely special. A big part of what makes us stand out is the quality of art we create. It draws people into the Holt Center and really adds to the city's energy. Plus, by working with local talent, we're investing back into our community. Our dancers and staff have established deep roots here, and that connection remains strong even after the curtain comes down. We hope that as our productions grow, they will attract new people to Eugene, whether as audience member or as future residents. Looking ahead, if our budget allows, we would love to add 3 new full-length works to our repertoire in the next 3 to 5 years. That means more chances to collaborate with other local arts groups, more visibility for Eugene, and plenty of creative challenges for both the company and our audiences. We want to keep making Eugene a vibrant, inspiring place to live, and we're excited to play a part in that journey. We also believe that education is at the heart of a thriving community. Supporting access to quality arts education doesn't just nurture future artists, it enriches the lives of everyone.
Discourage anyone listening to classical music when I was a child, let's say, and was a big Rolling Stones fan, also knew about the Eugene Symphony somehow. So there you go. That tells you about the sort of ambassadorship that we, amongst others, do for this beautiful place. That just came to mind when you were talking about, you know, arts bringing the name of the city in the best light. We're like the flag carriers. You know, when I saw this job opening for music director of the fabulous Eugene Symphony, you know, I obviously did some research. I asked colleagues about, you know, how the orchestra was playing, all good things, and I looked on various things online, and I noticed that the Chamber of Commerce said, past tense, City of Arts and Outdoors. And I think, what does it say now? It says City of Outdoors and Sports. Not that I think sports should be removed at all. There's nothing wrong with sports, but where's the arts? A lot of these sort of organizations, Traveling County, etc., have moved away from the arts. And so here we are. It's our job to help bring back art together with our colleagues as a pillar of the community, because the community is much healthier and has a much better future, and the citizenry has a much better future with art. Why? Because, I mean, there's many things art does, but there's 2 things, and you know, I'm thinking specifically about concerts, but not exclusively by any means, that art does. One is it brings us all together. People come from every possible background, immigrant, new immigrant, not recent immigrant, you know, 20th generation, different demographics, different beliefs, values, religions, languages. Both ballet and music is totally sort of language neutral, doesn't matter, you know, if you speak a word of English or not. And it brings us together for sort of an pan-human experience where we examine the topics that are humanity, that are completely common in spite of any demographic difference. Love, grief, desire, ambition, loss, hope, and solidarity, of course. And the other one is to provide inspiration. Inspiration's a bit of a buzzword and a common word, but when you watch a professional or any good dancer or musician, and you know, they make it look effortless, but in fact it's been very, very many hours of work since they were about 3, speaking from personal experience, and sweat and pain and toil and doubt and stuff, all to create this one you know, one ephemeral moment that you get to experience live that no one else can get. Even on the recording, it's not quite the same, love recording though I do. To see that excellence, that Olympic gold kind of excellence and dedication, for me, I'm just a man, with a stick, waving around occasionally. I grunt, that's about it. Stomp very occasionally. To see that makes me think, wow, I should get out of bed earlier. Perhaps it won't be 2 p.m. that I get up today. Maybe I'll get up at 1:30, do you know? And, or 10:30 today. And maybe I'll do that extra bit of work. Maybe I'll go and volunteer that extra time today. Do you know? Maybe I'll make this gift. Maybe I'll spend some more time with my godchild. Whatever. Do you know? Like do something. It's really inspiring. And so those two things, I think, are very important. And in the next 3 to 5 years, as some messaging moves away from the arts, I really believe in this community and I really love it. And I think it deserves, amongst other things, those 2 aspects I outlined. And so we are, as a whole, wonderful team, digging into creating that for the city because it deserves it.
Thank you. Next question. How do you balance honoring classical traditions with introducing new or contemporary works?
When we're planning a season, we try to strike a balance that covers a little bit of everything. It's an equally exciting and daunting task. Striking that balance between cherished audience favorites, we were just talking about the Nutcracker just before we began this conversation as an example, and more adventurous contemporary programming. But it's a rewarding challenge, and one we embrace wholeheartedly. Our audience in Eugene has traditionally gravitated to the timeless appeal of classic fairy tales, so we thoughtfully weight our season in that direction, but that doesn't mean we have to be predictable. We love to surprise and delight by reimagining those beloved stories, sometimes through modern adaptations, refreshing sets and costumes, or innovative updates to choreography. While Tony Pimble, founding artistic director, has created over 60 unique works for our repertoire and continues to create. The Swan Lake you may have seen us perform 10 years ago may not be the same Swan Lake you see us perform in the future. There's a recognition that these ballets need to evolve with the tastes and the demands of our audiences in the future. The performing arts offer a vital reprieve from daily routine, as we all well know, and we're lucky to live in a community that so deeply values that experience. Our story ballets are meant to draw in longtime fans and newcomers, and we're also excited to try new things. That's why our season includes contemporary works, pieces with dynamic movement, less structured storytelling and choreography that inspires and challenges both our dancers and the audience. We're always looking for ways to keep ballet fresh and meaningful for today's audiences while staying true to its roots. I want to mention Suzanne Haig, our Associate Artistic Director and Resident Choreographer, because she's a big part of this and our future moving forward. Just as we're reimagining some of these fairy tales and classics. For example, this last November, she presented her first full-length world premiere, Dracula. And it was a huge success and really showcased her creative vision. It was a very effective blend of that classic storyline with a contemporary adaptation, striking a balance between honoring the tradition and introducing more contemporary elements. It's exciting to see how her talents will help shape our future, and not just the future of our company, but ultimately how it impacts our audiences.
Because I don't work for your organization, I can say this ballet is always relevant. There's no doubt about that. Also, I'm hereby officially requesting consideration for a cameo as Mother Ginger. I'm not joking, by the way. It's been a lifelong dream. I also would like one time to sing Azucena in Il Trovatore. She's the old, the mother figures in Mi Vendico. Those are the 2 cameos I'd like to do. There's a few others. MC and Cabaret is the other. Anyway, I think about this a lot, this topic, and I also sort of tell myself not to because, when I think, I'll tell you a true, it's not really a story, a true fact in my life, which is, I grew up basically in Eastern Europe until I was 17, and then I sort of, on a long shot, applied for the assistant conductor job in Seattle, and lo and behold, I was asked to audition, and I remember visiting Seattle for the first time, 17, and thinking, well, it must be exactly like Vladivostok, because it's just across the water. It wasn't. But then when I moved to Seattle, I had no idea about jazz and hip-hop and country music other than vaguely that there were such genres. And, it was very new to me, even if the works weren't new. And first it was a shock, and I didn't like it to a large degree. And then I came to love all three of those genres, amongst others, very deeply, and became meaningful. So life is about learning and exploration. And all music was new at some point, right? If you think about your favorite works, just this season we've done works like Beethoven's Third Symphony, which now many people would consider a favorite. It's certainly a favorite of mine, and perhaps even verging on easy listening, or at least very familiar listening. But it was scandalous and considered basically unlistenable, beyond dissonant noise, not music, Swan Lake got terrible reviews for the music when it was premiered. The people said there's no melodies at all. Why doesn't Tchaikovsky write melodies? It's the greatest melodic composer ever, possibly, arguably. One of. So all music was new. Many pieces failed at the premieres, and the difference is that we've had the filter of time to parse some of that out, although it's not a flawless filter, but it's a filter. And of course, there's more music from the past than the present, because there's been more past than present, by definition, exponentially so. And so, we just play great music, and a lot more of it's from the past, and some's from the present, and all great art, including great orchestral music, is, amongst other things, as many things it is, and doesn't need to be just this by any means, but it holds up a mirror to our society. Sometimes composers do that voluntarily, sometimes completely by accident, but by definition, if it's great art, it does that. The flattering, the medium, and the awful is held up. And composers from the past held up a mirror to their past societies and their present. And so it's very valuable for us to see the mirror, to learn about our time, and to see that perspective, almost to look at ourselves from a different perspective through contemporary art. And it's just as valuable to do so through past art, because those who don't learn from history are doomed to repeat it. And that's one of the many services great art offers. And so I really think it's just about, I think it's something not to make a fuss about. I think it's about making great music in a really exciting way that's compelling for people and addictive, which I think great concerts are, and inspires and brings joy and beauty. And there's music from literally every era that does that. And so I just try and select that. And beauty is important. We need it in the world. So, yeah.
What specific steps are you taking to make the symphony and ballet more accessible, say, to younger audiences, lower income residents, and people who don't see themselves as art patrons?
Live performances are amazing at bringing people together, no matter their age or background. They create shared moments, they spark conversations, build understanding, and let us celebrate what makes our community unique. For a lot of people who might not think the arts are for them, that first time seeing a live show can be a game changer. Honestly, the Nutcracker, or Swan Lake, and our other story ballets is often the perfect way for newcomers to sort of dip their toes into the world of ballet and live music and experience the Holt Center for the first time. We call it sort of that gateway, and it's how it's recognized as how we attract in, and then they become future audience members by returning. These productions are fun, they're familiar, and they're totally magical, making them super approachable for families, young adults, or anyone who's just curious about ballet or music. That first taste of dance can turn into a lifelong love for the arts. It became my lifelong love for the arts. Expanding accessibility and welcoming new audiences is central to our mission. I've had the privilege of seeing firsthand the impact of sharing dance to communities who serve. We performed on tour often 20 out of 32 weeks each year to underserved communities in the Pacific Northwest. And we've participated in educational outreach in both public and charter schools throughout the state. And while funding and the pandemic didn't do us any favors, our commitment to these programs is stronger than ever. Just this past December, we were thrilled to present a sensory-friendly version of the Nutcracker on the Silva stage. It's a performance that's designed for all, with the special accommodations for those who might need them. We're excited to continue that tradition this coming winter. In May, we'll welcome students for an educational outreach performance of The Large Rock and the Little U, which is based on local author Gregory Alushin's book. And it is in our academy is composed of our talented academy students who regularly tour public schools, hospice facilities, and retirement communities, sharing the joy and energy of dance wherever they go. Additionally, we offer an Access to Dance program that partners with youth and social service organizations in our communities. And this ensures that their clients have the same opportunities to experience our performances at the Holt Center and participate in our youth training programs at the Midtown Arts Center. There's always more to do. We're inspired by the possibilities that are ahead and are eager to expand our outreach, ensuring that families, young adults, and people from all backgrounds can share in the magic of dance and music with us.
That's so beautiful. I mean, and I'll tell you about our programs, but as you can hear just already, you hear how accessible arts, let's say classical arts, I don't really like that term, but what people might term classical arts as well as other arts are, because we care so much about our art and about people, and this is true here and in your organization, our organization, and basically across the field. And I'm always fascinated because it's a common question. What isn't accessible about what we do? We're very, very accessible, I think, and there's a difference between accessibility and perception of accessibility, of course. Classical music has famously, I would say, been for at least 500 years, probably more, although you get into sort of, comes church music, but anyway, has been a home for those who were seen as other at whichever time in history. Do you know, there's different groups at different times, unfortunately and tragically, but certainly music has been a home for amongst others, you know, immigrants, especially queer people. It's not a flawless record. There's also been you know, a very unfortunate things that are contrary to that, but on the whole it's been a home for that, and that's because expression, as I said, is omni-human. And so we, as at the Eugene Symphony, very much proudly continue and focus and expand that tradition. And I often note, and so do my friends who visit me from out of town, how positive and friendly and inclusive our concerts are, and I take great pride and joy in that. It's really an experience of joy, and we have a diverse audience in age. I see a lot of neurodiverse people that I now have a relationship with, that I meet in the lobby afterwards. All sorts of the beauty of the rainbow that is humanity, and that brings me great joy. On a practical level, we do everything we can within a tight budget to make this possible. Our tickets start at just $22, which you know, is cheaper than I think any country concert that I've been to, any pop concert by a lot. Certainly cheaper than the sports game, and cheaper than most visits to, you know, the grocery market. So these days, much to my frustration. So, you know, there's that. We have $10 student tickets, and community ticket programs where we bring school groups in for free, which I love seeing in concerts and rehearsals. We have Vet Tix program, which is tickets for veterans. That brings me particular joy, and that really seems to have high uptake. I see that used a lot, and I can imagine that for some folks who have, for example, PTSD and things like that, there's a concert and that community and that spirituality of art is particularly healing. And either way, it's wonderful to honor our veterans that way, meaningful and moving. And we also think about our value proposition. Ours is an expensive art form. We have a lot of people on stage. That's part of the magic of the concert is no matter how high you turn your, speakers up and at home and if they're wonderful things, it's not the same. It's not about the volume, but it's not the same kind of vibration that can pin you to your seat or make you sit up and feel that, that sort of goosebump creating magic. But it's a lot of people, and there's a lot of people behind the scenes who work hard to make each concert possible. So it can't be free, but the value of the ticket versus what we offer on stage. By the way, I quite like music theatre, but I often notice with music theatre, it's like 6 people playing these days. It used to not be that way. And there's, the set tends to be simple these days, and yet the tickets are often $200, $300, $400. And by the way, I never hear talk about accessibility. So I think we provide extraordinary value for this community, and I love that our tickets are affordable. But the main thing is that we have a very, very, very diverse audience, and we welcome everyone, we love everyone. And there's no such thing as coming dressed right or dressed wrong. We make a big point about this, by the way. I like to dress up for concerts. Some people don't. It really does not matter, as you can see. And there's no such thing as knowing too much or too little. When I first experienced Blake Shelton, I didn't even know I was listening to Blake Shelton. Now it turns out I'm a Blake Shelton mega fan. So same thing with music. You do not need to know because great music speaks for itself, and everyone's welcome and loved. And we're delighted to see you, anyone, everyone.
So I think this next question has a little bit to do with the nuts and bolts of putting a season together, and at least that's how I interpret it, but of course you may have your own spin. When you build a season, how do you weigh audience favorites against more ambitious and unfamiliar programming?
To answer this question best, it's important to discuss attendance. We tend to focus our season more on classics or fairy tales, as I've mentioned, since there's usually greater interest and turnout for familiar stories and traditions. You may experience that a little
we
bit
have,
too.
yeah.
Yes. And at the same time, we know the classics can't remain stagnant. They need to evolve with our audience and community. Productions should stay fresh, relevant, and exciting, especially since audiences today, raised on Broadway and the movies, expect a fully realized fantastical experience. Our goal is to keep meeting and exceeding those expectations. Tony, our founding director, mentored both Suzanne and me, and she's always emphasized that our audience appreciate elegance, beauty, and truly world-class productions. Not watered down versions of ballet, no matter what the age of our patrons. Suzanne and I are totally on board with this philosophy. For us, it's about finding that balance between education, aesthetics, and genuine engagement, so we can honor tradition while still connecting with contemporary audiences in new and exciting ways. And I want to share that in a recent conversation with someone, it was brought up that perhaps dance or music or the arts in general is an escape from what's going on right now. And their response was, it's not that it's an escape, this is real life. And that's why I love this community in Eugene, because Eugene embraces those values and that life, that belief in the arts, and that it should be a regular part of our day and our visit and how we evolve and integrate into this community. That said, we also love partnering with the Holt Center and bringing incredible companies like Dance Theater of Harlem, Alvin Ailey, like we had this last week, yes, and Complexions. These collaborations introduce a different style of dance and showcase the rich contribution these artists bring to Eugene. And I was there on Tuesday night and shared in that incredible energy. It was magnificent to see. Just as notable composers are celebrated in Symphony and in the world of music, dance has its own choreographic legends. We have a significant audience base that enjoys singing. A portion of our season devoted to those more contemporary works with more of an edgy, energetic, or a varying perspective. We continue to invest in works by world-renowned choreographers, giving both our audience and our dancers a new way to experience movement and experience challenge. For example, we will present Martha Graham's Dark Meadow Suite on our next program alongside Suzanne Haig's contemporary adaptation of Petrushka, an AI ballet, in early April at the Holt Center.
We should be doing that together. I have one particular idea for you later. It's a private, offline. Yeah, I mean, amen to everything you said. I think very much of art and certainly music, art, as an essential service. I would include that sort of in the list of ambulance, EMT, fire, art, mental health. By the way, those last two very much intersect. And we need both things considered these days. So that's as a background to all the choices we make, like it's needed and beauty is needed and challenge is needed, and we have only so many concerts a year and to do it all, and but above all we're here to bring beauty and inspiration, also challenge, also things, but beauty, inspiration above all, desire for the classics and I imagined in Eugene, for example, desire for the classics and I imagined in Eugene, for example. But it is the job of someone in my position or similar positions to listen and to reflect this community. We're not any random city, vague city symphony. We're the Eugene Symphony. We belong to Eugene in this wider area, and we reflect it. And if you look at our next season, no spoilers because we just announced it, but I am plugging it, our amazing 26-27 season, we announced it just a few days ago. It's very much a season inspired by Eugene. It's a Eugene-informed season, and we have, it's a wonderful season. We've got things like Dvorak 9 and Rachmaninoff's Third Symphony, his sort of Hollywoodish symphony that's full of big Slavic melodies and American sort of Ben-Hur style movie-making energy and American glamour. And we've got Itzhak Perlman coming, which people are very excited for. Simon Porter playing the Tchaikovsky Violin Concerto, but also Tchaikovsky's heavy, dark Manfred Symphony. We've got John Adams's Must the Devil Have All the Good Tunes, one of my favorite American works. Hanson's Song of Democracy, which I cannot recommend highly enough. We've got Brahms' Second Symphony. So it really is inspired by Eugene. It's a wonderful season. And I love the spirit of the city. It's welcoming and warm, and that welcoming and warmth is in the season. Now, last thing I'll say here is that history, Eugene projects itself, and very often is a city that's adventurous and very diverse. But sometimes our history as an organization has shown that when we take artistic risks, people don't show up. Just in the seats rather, preferably in than on, but either is better than not at all. And we can't pay our bills with that business model in today's economy. On the other hand, I'm always learning masterpieces I don't know, so we have to balance that. We have to listen, and we have to be nimble and reflect, and yet still lead. And that balance is simply what I think about. And I think as we go on the journey together over many years, we'll discover that together. And I always think of concerts as like a hangout. And how do I hang out with my friends? Well, we all play music to each other that we like and love, and I discover something and they discover something, and so that's the relationship we'll build and the trust we'll build. And if we do that, hopefully we get both more of the favorites and more of the new discoveries.
Next question. I think this is a very important one, and you've already talked about this a little bit. What role do your organizations play in education, and how do those programs shape the next generation of artists and audiences in Eugene?
I love what you just said about listening and the partnership between our community and what we do. And I think education is part of that, because we may be introducing something new that's not based on those classics. And it's part of how we construct the season and moving into the future, because those choices are shaped by our community in part, and our responsibility is maybe to introduce something that may be new and maybe a little bit scary at first, or may not have the largest audience, but it is a step in a direction of learning each other and maybe growth forward. So I loved what you just said. Eugene Ballet plays a big role in education, obviously, as do you. And we're passionate about making dance accessible to everyone. To begin with, introducing kids to dance is more than just getting them moving in the moment. It's about helping to create the next generation of arts lovers, supporters, and even future artists. It's always inspiring to see our academy students performing right alongside our professional artists at the Holt Center, and these moments make a huge impact. Younger audience members get to see kids their own age up on stage, which helps them imagine themselves as part of the performance too. We see the successful exchange between the audience and our dancers when the younger viewers dance in the aisles or in the lobby at those shows. My daughter happens to be one of them.
Aww. Wonderful.
Plus, many of our company dancers are also on faculty at the Academy, so they're directly shaping the future of dance in Eugene, training and encouraging the next wave of dancers and arts fans. We also work hard to reach those who can't make it to the theater, bringing performances and the joy of movement directly to them, wherever they are. And it's not just about kids. We love seeing more adults in our community exploring dance for their own personal wellness and discovering the mental, physical, and creative benefits that come with it. And I can attest that there are 2 of our board members in the room who have recently started taking adult classes at our academy, and it's just marvelous.
Who are they?
Justin and Corinne, of course.
Nice. Good
Yes.
for you. Love it.
Right, show us. Can you demonstrate, please?
I'm tempted.
Through the Eugene Ballet Academy, we serve over 400 students, youth and adults alike, offering training from everyone from toddler starting at the age 2.5 all the way through adulthood. Our welcoming facility is a wonderful place to learn, and thanks to scholarships, about 12% spread across our student population, we're able to welcome a significant number of students who might not otherwise have had the chance to dance with us. That makes our impact even greater in the community and something we're truly proud of. At Eugene Ballet Academy, our education component goes beyond the studio. Through the Eugene Ballet Youth Touring Program, our students have the chance to represent Eugene throughout the Northwest as an award-winning dance troupe. This unique program allows these student athletes to compete throughout the Northwest, offering more performance opportunities for them while building teamwork and self-confidence and sharing the talent and artistry that's available here in Eugene with others in our region. And lastly, one program that I'm particularly passionate about, it's our Aspirant program, which is a 2-year experience that gives young dancers those last key pieces of professional training before they take their leap into a dance career. We work closely with 7 dancers at a time, so it's very small and it's not tuition-based. It is free of charge. And we help them get ready for, and inspired for whatever comes next. And I'm especially proud to say that 60% of our professional company actually comes through this program. It is so strong that we rarely need to bring in dancers from elsewhere. We've got amazing talent growing right here.
That's super awesome and impressive. Now, just imagine when fellow middle-aged men with receding hairlines see me as Mother Ginger on stage, how they'll imagine themselves as part of that.
That's
you
right.
see.
I see your point.
My first love was ballet. I came to music through ballet. I was just telling you, but I had a Russian ballet teacher in London, but say very, very, very bad body for ballet, but very musical. Go do music, and that is how I got into music. Swan Lake was my access point. What I'll say is that everything we do is educational. First of all, literally everything we do, like even our quote-unquote standard concerts, because we're learning about each other. One of the great things we could have we look from a different perspective of each other, learn about each other, and about the best, sometimes the worst, but also the best of humanity, and that's very beautiful. Anyway, we live in a state, in a society, where there is, let's say, not strong support from the government for the arts, and I would say perhaps even more concerningly for the arts in schools, at least for music. I can certainly speak to that. That's a shame, because this beautiful state deserves the blessings and benefits that a greater emphasis on that, and perhaps a slightly less incessant and insistent compulsive obsession with STEM could bring. Because everyone needs art. Everyone needs art. Everyone needs to understand the cooperative learning, the cooperation that it brings, and the understanding of our humanity nearby and 10,000 miles away and in between. And I've never used math in my life once. Not once. Never have I used it. No, I'm not joking. I've never, ever used it. Some people will. It's a specialization that is very beautiful and impressive. I've dated a mathematician. No idea. He tried to teach me number lines. I didn't get it. But, they all think I'm joking. So, you know, we are being stretched financially, arts organizations across the board in the world, in this country, and in the state. But we continue to show up. At Eugene Symphony, as do you, provide important support and that essential service in the community, including in local schools. We're filling that gap as best we can, and we appreciate everyone's support in doing so. We have a lot of programs that support musicians and young people at every stage of their musical journey. We have the instrument petting zoo, which is like the cutest thing ever. It's exactly what you think it is, what it sounds like, and kids can have their first chance to, you know, blow a raspberry into a trumpet, or you know, make a resonant and sonorous sound on a little violin, and it's the cutest thing ever, and it sparks that imagination and joy that then brings great edification to their life, literally for the rest of their life. We support young musicians in schools. We have private lessons, which is really what I would love the state to pick up, actually, for kids, provided by our musicians who don't study privately otherwise, especially lower income, of course. Parents can't afford that themselves, and so, unfortunately, we help provide that. And we do a lot of other things in schools, and I go into schools too, which is really fun. I just did a thing at Springfield High School. It was their orchestra festival, and there was orchestras from different Eugene schools and from around the state, and I did a little sort of clinic with them, let's say, and they played for me for half an hour, and then I worked with them for half an hour, roughly each. And I got there at 8 a.m., but well, just after 8 a.m., by the way, which I think is very, very impressive. Certainly the most impressive thing I've done in about a year. And we connect student musicians with mentors and mentorship programs and performance opportunities with us, with our Young Artist program. A lot of our musicians are very generous with their time too, and with their love and support. So we really step up and offer that, because again, this community more than deserves it. We also welcome annually thousands and thousands and thousands of elementary students to our daytime youth concerts. I just did one last week, the Link Up Carnegie. It was, we also had kids on stage, which was awesome for the same reason you outline. People see their own age, their peers on stage. It's beautiful. They played the recorder. I accompanied them on the recorders with the orchestra in Going Home, for example, and Beethoven 9, and they're really, and the whole hall was playing, by the way. It was really fantastic. It really filled my heart. We did Carnival of the Animals before that. These are daytime field trips for elementary students, and it's often the first time they're seeing the symphony, the Halt Center, leaving their town, Springfield perhaps, or elsewhere. Often it's the first time. And what a wonderful first trip, first time to hear a world-class orchestra, to feel that vibration, to dance. We invite them to shimmy and boogie sometimes, and to sing along, to play along. It's the most awesome thing, and it's actually, I find it some of the most enjoyable parts of my job. One of the most enjoyable parts of my job is that. So I will here boast and say lucky Eugene to have these programs, because it absolutely makes a huge difference in our future, and the real benefit of it we'll see in 20 to 50 years.
Okay, thank you very much. We're going to stop here and take about a 2-minute break, and then we'll come back for questions. Go ahead.
Hi, Kelly Johnson, City Club member. Thank you both so much for being here and for all that you do for Eugene. I recently heard of a really innovative production in New York of Phantom of the Opera called Masquerade, where instead of the audience kind of sitting and watching in a stationary place, they like move through the building and there's different vignettes of the thing happening. So I just wonder, could you guys talk about if you're envisioning or how you could envision, or if you're already doing it, taking people outside the concert hall to experience your artwork?
I will have to take that up with Suzanne. I'm sure she has some ideas in that direction. Currently, we just are typically operating in the traditional sense with having our audience members seated, but I love that. We are discussing ways of incorporating perhaps people from the community into productions in the future, but I think that's a marvelous idea and certainly a way that is increasing maybe a little more interaction, and I think concepts along that line are vital because, as we know, particularly in youth, their attention spans are getting shorter, and so that is a means or a way of maintaining focus in an arts setting. So thank you. I'll take that to my people. Thank you.
It's a very interesting question. We, of course, we are in schools, we are in places like that in the educational sense. We're also, for example, next season going to Roseburg. I could be speaking out of turn here, but I don't think they have an orchestra. Is that right? They don't have an orchestra in Roseburg? Dave? Is there an orchestra in Roseburg? No. No, so now they get to hear a live one, right? So like we're doing that. I mean, I understand it's not for Eugene, but it's for our area, this beautiful, beautiful part of the world, and in a human and natural sense. And I would like to do more out and about. It's somewhat practically difficult with big instruments and stuff, but it's not impossible. I'd also like us just to have more footprint and visibility around the town. For some reason, for example, the airport doesn't have anything, no video of us playing, no exhibition, which you see in most cities in America and elsewhere, about their local orchestra and other companies. So that is absolutely a hint to anyone listening, not a very subtle one. Yeah, I'd like us to. It's a question of budget. I don't know a single organization that, or in our genre, well, that may not be true, but there's not many, and we do an extraordinary amount with a very small budget, and very small but extraordinary staff, and we are absolutely milking every dollar for its maximum value. It's like when you're buying a United flight with the miles, you're looking for that super saver. We are the super saver on everything we do. We're making every dollar count. And so I would love to do more of that, and we just need more support to do that, and that's a very worthwhile thing. I just want to say very quickly on one thing you said, because it's something I think about very greatly. Yes, people's attention spans are falling. Mine too. I am an Instagram scroller if ever there was one, and nothing to do with music. I just slop, and I'm guilty of this too. And I grew up in the sort of basically the generation that just was the first starting that, and I see people younger than me, and even more so. And so I think absolutely we can sometimes play to that, but also I think that at least our art, and I would argue probably ballet and opera and others too, are actually an antidote to that, a necessary antidote to that. That we need long form. We need people to read books to if they're watching cinema, to watch long, serious cinema. Nothing wrong with entertainment. And we also do just fun entertainment concerts, but sometimes you need that long journey. And even for me, I mean, I am the world's biggest Wagner fan. Wagner has been my life since I was 4. But even I occasionally, if the production's not like 11 out of 10 in a performance of Parsifal or Tristan, I find myself sometimes almost thinking about maybe I'll just but I make myself not, because I need that, and it's sometimes even it's good for me. It's really, really good for me, and sometimes I need that, and it can even be uncomfortable. That's okay, but you need that, because in the end you get so much more of it in that long delayed gratification, and allowing your brain, like I take a moment every day to just sit down on a chair or sofa and just not read, not think, not have a, or think but not have a phone. So art provides a great service in that, and I think the next generation needs that more than any. It's not that we have to sort of, impose it upon them every time, but it's something to offer at times. And so just something I think really a lot about that, because I think it's one of the great services we can provide.
Thank you. Justin.
Hey, Alex, I heard something really wonderful about you
Uh-oh.
last night, actually, from one of the players in your orchestra. I'll keep her anonymous, but she said, I've worked with a lot of directors, and she said, what I love about working with Alex is he cultivates a love for me for the pieces that I already thought I knew.
Oh, that's awesome.
And it was really wonderful to hear her say that, and it's very genuine. So my question for both of you is recognizing that you both work with these artists who already love, they've devoted their lives to this craft and to this repertoire, all of these pieces. What do you view your role in helping build them, help them explore? How do you view your role with the artists, each of you?
I think that harkens back to the question we kind of had earlier about balance. And it is, for us in the dance world, yes, we were just talking about Sleeping Beauty, which when you're one of the leads in Sleeping Beauty, it's kind of like the Olympics of the ballet world. There are a lot of solos and potages and trios in it that really push the dancer physically to their limits on the stage, but it's presented in a classical sense. And in it, it has its usefulness, and it's a necessity for a ballet dancer to have those experiences. But what really helps shape them and push them forward in growth is to have exposure to alternate forms of dance, the Martha Grahams that they're going to be experiencing, and the more contemporary works. That helps propel them forward with their growth, keeps them interested and invested in a forward process particularly within our form of art. And I think that Suzanne's work and her emerging choreographic capabilities are another beautiful, readily accessible Eugene area grown tool that they get to experience on a regular basis, and that's going to be magical in how they move forward within our organization.
That's very, very sweet to hear. I love our musicians are the best. It's unbelievable how good they are, and they're also such wonderful people, and they're so enthusiastic. They seize my ideas like with total conviction, they just give everything, they go for it. They give me ideas, which I love, because music is a very communicative, it's communication between me and the musicians and me, myself and the composer's will and wishes, musicians, the audience and the composer's will and wishes, the audience and I, the audience and the music, it's this massive sort of feedback loop of awesomeness. And anyway, so that was something I actually did here after my first week here with the Dvorak 8. Dvorak 8 is about as standard a repertoire as you can get, right there in the pocket. And I don't ever choose to approach pieces newly or not newly or traditionally or not traditionally. I just take each piece as it is and kind of try to, informed, but ignore what the is expected and just do what's right by the score. Anyway, well, I don't know how you do it. I guess I am doing it, but sounds like. But it's about mutual respect and invitation. A conductor is there to facilitate, above all, to open things, but above all, actually, even above that, to empower musicians to play their best. And so that's what I do. I empower incredible musicians to play their best. I try to. Sure, I make mistakes. And that conversation about respect, that attitude of working with respect and love, we have a very warm atmosphere in our rehearsals, in our offices, I think is conducive to that. And I love it. It's one of the reasons I really wanted this job, is I felt that it was a place of mutual respect and love and communication. And goodness knows our people deserve it. Yeah.
Hi, Mary Layton, City Club member and Symphony member. And I just wanted to say, at Network Charter School, one of City Club sponsors, they they take advantage of the access to the symphony, and they build a lesson so they can get a little fragment in the credit recovery program of credit applied to Oregon standards by learning about some aspect of a piece and then attending a concert. So thank you for that. But my question is, as a member, why are there suddenly 3 o'clock Sunday performances on the schedule? Like 2 o'clock, I could almost get home in time to make Sunday dinner. 3 o'clock, there's going to be hungry people in my family.
In San Francisco 4 or 5 months ago, and they do 4 performances. And I was planning to go Thursday evening, and then I went Thursday evening and Friday evening. Also, I went Saturday evening and Sunday afternoon. And I cried each time in a good way. So, you know, we're trying to listen, we try to adjust, you have to be nimble. Your voice is absolutely welcome. I mean that from the bottom of my heart, and I'm so glad you come with the kids too. And speak to Dave, tell him how you really feel. And he's right there in the Hawaiian shirt, as is his wont. But, you know, different people will have very strong opinions about the same thing, equally strongly in different directions. That's certainly something experienced, and we have to try and balance. That's really all I have to say about that.
7:30 I love much better than 8,
Yeah,
by the way.
I like 9. You know, in Spain often concerts are at 9, and then you go for dinner at 12:31. The only problem is it's hard to find any food to eat before the 9 p.m. concert, like to snack up before the concert. But so it's all different, you know, like it's yeah.
Okay, so we have time for one more question, maybe. Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Corinne Gilbert, and I have the pleasure of serving on the board of the Eugene Ballet. Thank you. This is a shameless question from both boards and from both organizations that I'd love for you to answer on behalf for our audience listening and here. How can we support the Eugene Ballet and the Eugene Symphony in a time like this where finances are so difficult? There's so much competition for attention and attendance. How can we make sure that the symphony and the ballet are here for the next 50 years?
Okay, you have 70 seconds each to answer that.
Good luck with that being 70 seconds. I appreciate the question, and I think it is true. We are very blessed in Eugene to have, this is a mecca for the arts, and that being said, we all are vying for people in seats. We need butts in seats, and it is a challenge that we want to rise to. But given what you were speaking about earlier, Alex, which is we don't have the state and government support that we used to get in this area, Eugene specifically. We are far more reliant on foundation support and on individual giving. We are operating in a shortfall, and we have done so for several years, and we cannot maintain that model. And so we are more dependent now, more than ever. If we could do one thing, and that would be to fill every seat consistently, we average selling about 1,100 seats per performance. The Holt Center, the Silva stage, it houses seating for 2,400. If we could fill all of those seats, that problem would go away. So I think it's about visibility. It's about sharing the word, who we are as organizations. We still run into people that say, I didn't know that there was a ballet company here, and I didn't certainly know that it was of this caliber. We need people out there sharing the word and helping to make us visible in our own community. And so that in combination with dollar support, that's my 70 second.
Yeah, everything you said I echo. Please come. Many reasons to come. You will, for those who don't come, your quality will be improved. You'll be celebrating something that's deeply connected to your community. You'll be helping us. You'll be helping future generations be able to avail themselves of that. When you come, of course, it helps financially, even though our tickets are cheap, but it adds up. But it also shows the demand. It shows the love. And it is out there. It's just a question of of securing it and telling people when concerts are. So like, let your friends know. Bring your neighbors. Bring your friends. Bring your family. Come say hi to me after, you know, and connect with our beautiful, welcoming community. Also bring a date. It's like the best date night, both ballet and a concert. I know of many successful first dates that way, including personal experience. And it was a long time ago, but and also, yeah, absolutely giving in so many forms. You can do, you can give in very many ways, and we appreciate it. And it's not so much a donation as an investment. It's an investment